Hi, I'm Amy Peeler. I am the Kenneth T. Wessner Chair of Biblical Studies at Wheaton College.
Dr. Amy Peeler, welcome back to Exegetically Speaking.
Thank you. Always love to be here.
You've been such a stalwart supporter of this podcast. Thank you, first of all.
Well, I'm a believer in biblical languages. There is no replacing. They're a wonderful thing.
There's no way to do what you do and I do without
Mhm.
having really grappled with the original languages, right? Now,
Absolutely.
speaking of grappling with the original languages, you did so in a recent commentary. It is a commentary for Christian formation. It's being published by Erdman's. You've written the one on Hebrews, and it's just recently out.
That's right. It's so fun to see this come to fruition. Many years of work, and now it's all collected. Many of my thoughts on Hebrews in one place.
So you're not going to have any further thoughts on the book, right?
No, no. I already have a list going of things I want to think more about, write more about.
Yeah. I just finished something on Matthew, and Scott McKnight sent me something. He said, "Have you thought about this?" I said, "No, I didn't. I
Oh,
wish I had."
yes.
So in the second edition, we'll think about that. But
Right.
that's what happens, right? So this is a commentaries for Christian formation by Erdman's. Amy Peeler is out, and she's done Hebrews. Wonderful job. Great commentary. Would really recommend it. Now today we're going to be looking at Hebrews chapter 2, beginning around verse 10. And it's boy, this is really key stuff because it
Mhm.
talks about what's happened now through Jesus. The in a sense, the incarnation, the divinity of Jesus has been established. The
Yeah.
Son has been established, and now it kind of moves into a discussion more of incarnation here.
Mhm.
And tell us a little bit about what we're looking at in 2 verse 10.
Yeah, so it is an important part. So you could summarize Hebrews 1 does talk about the divinity of the Son. Chapter 2 focuses on humanity. We've just had a citation of Psalm 8 or portions of it, and the author has reflected on that a little bit. And now he is moving toward this connection that the Son of God shares with all other humans. And verse 10 gets that going. It's a very important moment in the argument of this sermon.
And it says, I'm reading from the New Revised Standard Version, it is fitting that God, for whom and through whom all things exist, in bringing many children to glory, should make the pioneer of our salvation perfect through sufferings. Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is. It is.
We could
Yes, you
spend
could.
30 minutes talking about that. Let's talk first of all about that idea of the pioneer of their salvation.
Yes, I love that translation, author of salvation, others might see. The Greek is archegos, and the Epistle to the Hebrews is the only New Testament book to give this title to Jesus.
Mm.
And it's such a beautiful picture. You could even kind of, those who are working on vocabulary could break it down. Ago, right, to lead, and then arche, beginning. So the one who's out on the front and leading, the one who is blazing the trail.
Mm.
It appears in the Septuagint for those who are leading the people of Israel, Joshua, in a few places. And there's going to be some Joshua comparisons with Jesus
That's
as we
right,
move
coming up
into
in chapter 4, right?
4.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then the author will use a race motif in chapter 12. And if you run, you can say, oh, that person in front of me is kind of, hey, I can follow them and I know where to go. And especially if you're doing more of a trail run, they might be kind of tamping down the grass or,
Hmm.
kind of getting the sticks out of the way. All of these pictures are really helpful for what the author is doing. Jesus is the one who is showing us how to dwell with God forever. He is the pioneer, the author, the perfecter.
Yeah. And it says the perfecter of their salvation. And it goes on to
Yes,
say that he is made perfect through suffering.
yes,
What do you
yes.
make of, is that word
Mm.
perfect like a moral perfection, or what kind of perfection is it?
Right. That's the one thing that it can't be. So I'm
Mm.
glad you set up that option as
Yeah,
one we
yeah.
can
It's
easily
a straw
reject.
man. You can easily make him tumble,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So teleao, which you go to the lexicons and you see it can have a lot of connotations of maturity, reaching an end, of becoming better, of perfect. But we know it can't be any kind of moral perfection because the author of Hebrews is says very explicitly that Jesus is without sin,
Mm-hmm.
that the Son, being tempted in all ways, as are we, never succumbed to that temptation. So there cannot be any kind of movement in the person of Jesus Christ from like bad to good. And so perfection here can be either the way in which he matures, right? Luke talks about his growth in wisdom and stature. So maybe this is reflecting on his incarnate life. I think it is also very appropriate to see this vocationally.
Mm.
So the Son, as we see in chapter 10, says, I'm coming to do God's will. Uh, and then he needs to do God's will, right? He needs to bring to fruition, completion. That's another meaning of this word. He needs to perfect the vocation he has taken on in becoming human. And that vocation includes suffering. So he learns as you move into chapter 5, he learns obedience through what he has suffered. He learns what it is to continue to say his yes to the Father in his incarnate state as he goes through this process of death. So
Mm.
that's ways in which we can understand perfection as a completion of what he and his Father and the Spirit had agreed that he would do.
So he was made perfect for the job in a way.
Yes, that's a great way of
Yeah,
saying it.
made perfect for the
Exactly.
job of being the
Yes.
pioneer of their salvation. Well, this is a
Yes.
great reading, Dr. Amy Peeler. Thank you for being with us today on Exegetically Speaking to talk about this, and good luck with your new commentary.
Well, thank you. I hope many people will keep reading Hebrews and discover the thousands, maybe even millions of exegetical insights that this sermon offers.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Bye bye. Thanks to Amy Peeler for being with us today on Exegetically Speaking. Thanks to John Lonsma as well, Rebecca Larson, Ian Rosine, and Jesse Dugan. They are our Wheaton-based team. They make this podcast sizzle, so thanks to them. Check out the show notes to see how you can become a student of biblical languages. And let me just tell you, Wheaton is the best place you can go to do that, hands down. If you already have some facility with the language, you could do a Master of Arts in Biblical Exegesis. If you don't, then you can start at the very beginning, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Aleph, Bet, Gimel. That's a very good place to start. Until next time, thanks for listening.